right, so we've been working on one-step equations. Yesterday we talked about writing two-step equations, and so this warm-up goes over all of that, and then today we're going to focus on solving two-step equations. So let's start with one you might think is a little easier. Let's save number 1. Let's look at number 2 first. How do I solve number 2? Lily. Good. Very good. That's exactly right. Add 11 to both sides. Remember, if I owe you 5 but I have 11 in my pocket, then I walk away with $6. Okay? All right, number 3 should not have confused you too much. How do you do number 3, Micaiah?
-5.
What do you want me to do with -5? I agree. Say that again. Do what with it? You want to pass? Okay. Just pass it. Griffin. It's division. Why is it division?
Because it's the opposite from multiplication.
It's the opposite of multiplication. This is multiplication right here. And we want to make sure we divide by a -5. And remember we said it has to be a -5 because 2 negatives make a positive. And we want that variable to be a positive y. So divide both sides by -5. These -5s will cancel out and become one whole. We're going to keep the y on the right side even though it feels weird. And how many 5s go into 65? 13. And it's going to be positive because that was a negative divided by a negative on that side also. Okay? All right, then we get on to number 1. And number 1's the hardest one because you have to remember how to solve with fractions. And that always seems more difficult. Who remembers how to do that? Justin.
You take the negative 2/7 and you just flip it, and you do 4/1 times 7/2.
Very good. And we're going to do one more thing. Okay, so we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, and the reciprocal would be 7/2. And remember, we have to make that one negative because a negative times a negative is a positive. So I do that to both sides. So I'm going to multiply this side by -7/2. Okay, all of these are going to cancel out and become one whole, which is why this is just x. Then on this side, I'm going to go ahead and put 4/1. And then I can either multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom, or I could think about cross-canceling, which I like to cross-cancel. So I would cross-cancel that 4 and 2. And 2 will go into itself once. 2 goes into 4, 2. So 2 times 7 is 14. 1 times 1 is just 1, so I don't have to put the 1 underneath it. And it looks like I forgot to make this negative. And a negative times a positive would make the 14 negative. So it's -14. Okay, questions on any of those 3 before we write the equation for number 4? All right, so we have a Dance Academy charges $24 per class and a one-time registration fee of $15. If a student paid a total of $687 to the Academy, write an equation. What did I tell you to always start with, Kathy? The total. So we're going to say equals 687. So if you say, I have no idea where to start, that's where you should start, right there. Okay? Now, how do I come up with that total? Because remember, this side right here has to equal 687 also, because both sides have to be exactly the same. How would I get the total of 687? Catherine.
15x plus 24 for $15 every single time. Oh, wait, no, 24x plus 15.
There you go. And I love that you caught yourself because you knew right then. You said it's 24 every single time, but it's a one-time registration fee of $15. So plus the $15. And if you put all of it together, you should get the 687. So there's your equation. If you have those two reversed, it's fine. Yes, Griffin. I'm saying that's what has to equal 687. Okay? All right, so we're going to take equations like number 4 and learn how to solve them today. That will be our next step in this. All right, so learning goal today, students will be able to understand how to solve two-step equations. And so we're going to start with the one we just looked at, and we're going to solve that one so we can get an answer. So this is the exact same one that we just wrote an equation for. So it was 24x plus 15 equals 687. So when we find x, x is going to tell us how many classes we took. Okay? All right, so first of all, we are basically doing order of operations backwards. So when we do order of operations, looks like this. And when we do equations, we want to go backwards. So this means we're going to start with anything we can add or subtract first. So exactly like one step, instead of adding 15, what do we want to do? Subtract 15. Exactly the same. So we're going to subtract 15, subtract 15. Because we want to get out that one-time registration fee. That's what we would do anyway. We would take that out, and then we would say, okay, well, this is how much we paid on classes. All right, so on this side, we're going to have 24x. And then, let's see, this would be 672. So basically in life, it means I spent 672 on the classes. So what would I need to do now? Sam? Yeah, I would divide by 24. Because now it's a one-step equation, plus it makes sense if I'm paying $24 per class to divide. Okay? All right, so I divide by 24. Divide by 24 using my fraction bar. These are going to cancel out. And then at this point, I pick up a calculator. So you guys have calculators on your computers. So what is 672 divided by 24? 28? So what does that mean? What is it? We went to 28 classes at $24 a piece. Okay? All right, let's try to solve some more. We're going to keep these fairly simple for now so you get used to it. And then we'll make them harder. All right, so basic two-step. We're going to go ahead and draw our line through the equal sign. And what do you think I do first on this one?
Minus 5.
Perfect, minus 5. So exactly like the one steps. So positive 5 minus 5 is 0. 4x is going to drop down. 13 minus 5 is 8. Okay, then from here, exactly like the stuff we've been doing before. What do I do now? What? No, we're not done. We're not done with the first one. You know what to do on the, we're in the red? No? Okay, Lily? Okay, do I take away 4? What's the operation between the 4 and the x?
Oh,
So we want to divide by 4. Good. So we're going to use that division bar. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. So this way the 4's cancel out and become one whole. And 8 over 4 simplifies to 2. And that should make sense. If I go back to the original problem, what is 4 times 2? 8 plus 5 is 13. So both sides equal each other. That's what you want, which is cool. You can always check your work and make sure you're right. All right, let's look at the next one. What do you guys think about that one? Where do I start? There. Zeke? Plus 5. There you go. There's your plus 5. All right, so the 3x is going to drop down. My 5's have canceled out over here. And 7 plus 5 is 12. Okay, what's my stuff now? Griffin.
3 divided by
So divide both sides by 3. So I divide this by 3 using my fraction bar, this by 3. So that allows my 3's to cancel. And I'm left with x. 12 over 3 reduces to 4. Make sense so far? Okay. All right. Let me see what else I have on here. I think I put a lot in case I felt like we needed it. Let's go to this one. How about you guys go ahead and try this one on your own using the correct steps. And then the next one throws in some negatives. I can see from the back, most of you guys did first step fine. You did minus 9, minus 9. That's perfect. So I get 5x equals what? What's 26 minus 9? 17. Okay. Then the next step is to do what? Divide by 5. So I come up here and I use the fraction bar, right? So fraction bar 5, fraction bar 5. My 5's cancel out and I'm left with x. This is a fraction, 17 over 5. Can that fraction reduce? No, there's the 5 and 17 are both prime numbers. So the only thing you can do at this point is leave it as an improper fraction or change it to a mixed number. Does that make sense? And either one is fine. If you change it into a mixed number, then you would say what? 5 goes into 17 3 times, right? Because that'd be 15 with 2 left over. So either one of those answers would be appropriate. I don't care if you leave them in improper. Well, you have to follow digits instructions. So if it says, yeah, just follow whatever they say. Yep. All right, let's try the last one. Go ahead and try that one on your own. And then we're going to do some practice together. Add 8. Very good. So we add 8 here, add 8 here. So these cancel. Negative 6y drops down. 16 plus 8 is 24. Now what do I do? What's the next step? Divide by what? Very good. Negative 6, because you want the 6 and the negative to go away. So these cancel out and become one whole because a negative over a negative is a positive. 24 over negative 6 would be negative 4. Okay, questions on that?